my name is Jessica and I am a performance specialist here at ActiveCore, and I'm here with a tip today about improving your ankle mobility. So foot and ankle mobility are key components of having good balance and also to good joint health all the way up, as we would say, up the chain of the body into the knees, hips, lower back, even up into the shoulders and neck. We don't often think about all those pieces being connected, but we are all one system. So this movement I'm getting ready to show you I like because it combines a couple of things into one action. So you're doing one exercise with multiple benefits. And I'm doing it with a pair of half foam rollers. These are, I believe they're 12-inch segments of a 6-inch foam roller. And you can buy these on Amazon. You can get a pair for like 10 bucks. And then I've got a little bit of shelf liner over the top of them, something that we happen to have a lot of in the center that you don't necessarily need at home, but it can be nice to give you a little bit of grip. And I'm using the foot bar, the reformer, as my balance surface today. You could use a table, a chair, a railing. You just want to look for a surface where you've got a good angle for your hip hinge that allows your back to stay flat, and maybe put a little bit of hamstring stretch on, but not a ton. So if my hamstrings were tighter, I could be up on my hands rather than on my elbows. I've got the two half rollers spaced about 6 inches apart. And I know for my body, it feels good to have my feet towards the edges of these rollers. If my inner thighs were, or my hips were more limited in their movement, I might have the rollers closer together, or I might just be standing more towards the middle or even the inside of them. So I've started out with my metatarsals, the balls of my feet, on top of the arch of the roller. My heels are dropping into the floor. And from here, I'm going to hip hinge forward. So I've got a nice flat back, and I'm resting my weight on my elbows. And I'm feeling a pretty substantial calf stretch here. And I'm just going to stay here with this calf stretch. I'm also getting some hamstring stretch, although not as much as the calf stretch. You can stay here when you're doing this on your own for 30 to 60 seconds and just let the hamstrings and calves open up. It can be interesting to notice if you're able to get equal weight down through both heels. Sometimes if one ankle is substantially tighter than the other, or one calf is substantially tighter than the other, you won't be able to get the same pressure into the foot on one side, and that might shift as you hold the stretch. So once you've had that 30 or 60 seconds of just working at your midline, you can allow your weight to shift towards one foot. And when I shift to that one foot, it shifts the stretch. So it's much more substantially in the calf of my right leg because I shifted my pelvis to my right. And I'm also getting a pretty substantial stretch in the inner thigh of my left leg, and actually the inner calf on my left leg. Where exactly you feel it is going to depend a little bit on what's going on in your own body, where you're tight, where you're loose, where you might be restricted in any joint movement. So I'm going to hold here too. In a perfect world, I'd hold for another 30 to 60 seconds. And then I'm going to go to my second side. So now I'm shifting my pelvis over to my left. Ooh, and my left calf is much tighter than my right. So I've got my weight more into my left foot. My hips have shifted over to the left. I'm getting a very substantial stretch on my left calf and also my right inner thigh. And this is a place too where you might notice one inner thigh gets a stretch, the other doesn't. One calf gets a big stretch, one gets a small stretch, and that's just all information about your body and what your body needs to function optimally. So after I've stayed here for 30 or 60 seconds, I can repeat that, although for the purposes of this video not being super long, I'm not going to do that. So now I'm back in center for a moment, feeling the weight in my heels, and now I'm just going to take a little bit, not fast, but a continuous action. So I'm shifting to one leg and then to the other. So this is a little bit more of a mobility exercise versus a stretch exercise, although I am getting a calf stretch at each side. I'm exploring the mobility of my pelvis, my ability to move my legs inside my hip sockets. So if you've got a lot of tightness in your glutes or your upper hamstrings, sometimes this will be helpful. And it's also great for continuing to open up those inner thighs and calves. I'll come through center, walk myself back up, and bring my feet down to the floor. And what I like to do after these exercises is actually walk around a little bit and feel my gait pattern. So when we're walking, we've got a heel strike, speaking of balance, and a little bit of a toe off. So after you've done these mobility exercises, you should be able to feel a little clearer heel strike and a little better toe off in your gait. So these are great to do before or after walking if you're doing a lot of walking in your day-to-day, and just generally helpful for improving your balance. All right, thanks so much.